In this video, I'm going to share some amazing, powerful ways to accelerate fat loss. And these are great tools, but I want to first say that while these will definitely have amazing results, I want these results for you to be long-term results. I don't want this just to be a short-term thing that for whatever, maybe you have a special event coming up or something that has inspired this and you want to, drop 10 pounds, whatever it may be. But then you're going to slide back into the same thing afterwards. The key is to do these things, lose the weight, fantastic. I love that. But then there are certain underlying metabolic and hormonal factors, and potentially also other dietary and lifestyle factors of why this fat has come to be there in the first place. And so I think it's also important to address those so that this can be a long-term transition to a healthier, lighter you. And so it's not something that you have to be revisiting some fat loss program every 6 months or every year, but that you can just get to a good place and stay there, because locking that in is actually going to be a lot easier than the yo-yo effect of gaining the weight and then burning it off and gaining the weight and burning it off. So I want you to look and feel amazing all the time. So let's look at how we're going to do that. Now, there's various tools here, and some of them will be different for men and women. One area in which that's going to be different is in terms of intermittent fasting. Women's bodies, especially the women's endocrine systems, are more sensitive to some of the negative effects of intermittent fasting. And many women, for example, from doing intermittent fasting too intensely for too long of a period of time, have lost their cycles. And it's taken a long time for them to come back, because you're putting your body, if you go too hard, into a state where it's thinking, okay, there's very limited resources around here. I better shut down my fertility, because if I was to bring a baby into this environment, that's bad news, because there's not enough food around. So we're going to shut down operations there, because we don't want that to happen. It would be a dangerous thing. So for women, you can do something like 12-hour intermittent fasting. So that's like from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And that's still really good. Or better yet would be push it back a little bit earlier. A great rule is not eating after dark. So that's, of course, going to be a little bit different in summer versus winter when you have to cut that off. But it's a great way to make sure you're not eating too late and thus disturbing your sleep. And actually optimizing sleep, we'll get into that a little bit later. But sleep optimization is one of the most powerful tools for weight loss. You can actually sleep your way to fat loss. It's crazy, right? But it's actually possible and quite well supported by research. And whatever diet you're on is going to be more effective if you are getting enough sleep. So you've got the intermittent fasting part. And if it's for a guy, you can go much harder. You can go something like 16, 18 hours intermittent fasting. But for a woman, you don't need to push it quite so much. And in fact, you really shouldn't. Then using cold as a tool. So this is, I would say, if you do this in conjunction with a breathing practice like the Wim Hof method that's built around increasing your resilience to low temperatures, you're going to do a lot better. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable and a lot less suffering to do things like take cold showers or do cryotherapy. But these things really ramp up your burning of calories and your fat metabolism in the body, and are a great tool to start some fat loss going. And then the other part would be to sleep cold. You can do this by just not having on quite so many blankets, keeping it colder in the room that you're sleeping in. Or what I do personally, because Ana Blanca, she likes a little bit of a warmer sleep environment. So what I have is the mat from Uller, where you have a machine that pumps cold water underneath you throughout the whole night. So I set that to 61 degrees for me. And you work your way down. You start, when I got it, I set it to 68 and I was like, wow, I'm cold. And over time, you work down, and your body adapts. It's actually quite amazing. And this way you are actually going to be burning more calories all through the night, because calories, these are energy. This fat is stored energy. Your body can burn this to create heat. And if the environment is a little bit colder, your body's going to be more inclined to burn a little more of this, because you got to produce the heat. And when you sleep in a bit of a colder environment, it's also improving the speed at which you're able to fall asleep and get into some of the sleep stages, like the deep sleep and the REM sleep, that are going to be more rejuvenative and also help with your weight loss goals. Then we're going from the cold. Now we're going to go over to the heat. So you guys know I'm a huge fan of using the sauna. Personally, I'm in the infrared sauna almost every day. I think you're still in, the person asking this question is in Europe. So I don't know how much infrared sauna access you have over there. But you may be able to get into just a traditional sauna, which is also great. That is fantastic on its own. But if you combine it with the niacin detox protocol that's used in the sauna, this goes to a whole nother level because you have toxins in your body, and these toxins tend to get bound up to fat cells, and they're stored like that. You have a toxin and a fat cell, they get put into storage together to keep that toxin out of circulation. Problem is, your body's not going to let go of either of these, and when they're bound together like that, they're very hard to detoxify. With the niacin and the sauna, you're creating a process, or you're instigating a process called lipolysis, or lipolysis, depending on who's pronouncing it. I like lipolysis a little better. And this cleaves apart the fat and the toxin and allows them both then to be detoxified. So there's a whole protocol around this. I will put a link. So I'll put a link if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll put a link up top and in the description. If you're watching this on Instagram, I'll put a swipe up link. I made a whole video all about this so you can dive in much deeper. And let me tell you, this is very powerful when it comes to burning fat. Now, let's look at a couple of herbs that could be of interest here. If overeating and cravings and things like this are a factor, you may like to look at the herb Caralluma. This is an Indian cactus that is very helpful for decreasing appetite. Then looking at what we can find in China, one of my favorites is Gynostemma, Gynostemma. This is a fantastic herb. You can have it as a tea. It's very delicious, very pleasant. You can drink it all throughout the day. It really helps to accelerate burning of fat and building of lean muscle. It's a spectacular herb. It's a chi tonic, so it improves your moment-to-moment energy and vitality, supports healthy immune function. There's a whole host of benefits to it. It's really one of the great herbs that not very many people know about. I've been thinking maybe we should actually carry it as an extract powder. If you guys would be interested in that, let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. If this is on Instagram that you're watching this, I'll put maybe a poll in here. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. And then also black ginger, Thai black ginger. It's one of our favorite herbs over here, and this is one that also is going to stimulate burning of fat in the body. So another fantastic one to be having. It's also great for any athletic pursuits. I'm sure as a part of your weight loss journey, you are already out exercising. It's a great pre-workout herb to really act as a vasodilator and get your blood going. And in terms of how you're training, stay away from chronic cardio. Steady state, long-term chronic cardio is not actually that helpful. Look more into two areas. You want to look, one, at doing high-intensity interval training, sprints with short amounts of rest in between, basically, and then weightlifting. And these two things are going to be the most effective at helping you to maximize the burning of fat. So with these tools, I think you can make some real amazing progress here and get some results that you're going to be super happy with. But I also want to mention here that hormones are a huge part of this, right? So if your hormones are out of balance, if you have a lot of estrogen dominance, if you're on a birth control pill, if your thyroid is underactive, these things will all cause you to hold on to more weight. And while you may be able to use some of these modalities that we've just been talking about to push that weight down, as soon as you let up on those, it's going to come right back. The hormones are really running at a master control level. And if you don't address them, they have like, I'm trying to think about that, how to the best metaphor for this. They have like a huge gravitational pull. And so think of it like, okay, hormones are like a pole in the ground, and your weight is connected to that by a rubber band. You can run a certain distance away and stretch out that rubber band, but then you'll snap back. You can run and you'll snap back to the pole. You're stuck to the pole. You can only go so far away from it. In order to create a long-term shift, you got to move the pole Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in that yo-yo effect. And this is why this happens so much. People try to, do something as simplistic as limiting calories without addressing actual hormonal issues. And it works short term, and they bounce back. You see this all over the place, right? I'm sure you've heard a million stories of people who diet and then the weight comes right back. So really important to have a full hormone panel done to see where you're actually at. And this should also include a full thyroid panel, because when your thyroid's underactive, you're going to tend to hold on to a bit more weight because your metabolism is not running at the level that it should be. So I hope some of these tools will be helpful in terms of your short-term goals here, but please do me a favor and also get your hormones in alignment so that long-term you don't even have to think about these things as much and everything comes with so much more ease.